It's time to talk the latest with Stargate, as this AI project is drawing a ton of attention because up to $500 billion, I mean, it's substantial. I know $100 billion is the initial promise, but when you hear the line of up to $500 billion, that definitely will garner some attention for companies that have already promised and committed to massive capex in the world of AI. So I'd like to welcome in Kevin Green, now senior markets correspondent for the network. Kevin, walk us through the latest and greatest. I did cover the initial reports on this yesterday, and ever since then, I've seen like Elon Musk come out and make some interesting comments. I've seen some interesting comments from Larry Ellison, of course, the founder of Oracle. So I'm curious your thoughts here and what the news cycle is reading regarding Stargate.
Well, definitely this news yesterday, late yesterday, has definitely put some enthusiasm when it comes to the AI trade. As you talked about, Stargate is going to be the expansion of data centers here in the United States. And there's a commitment from SoftBank, as well as partnership with Oracle and OpenAI, to spend around $500 billion over the next 4 years in order to build out these data centers. Now, they're going to start this off in Texas, which is already kind of being built out. But over time, the expectation is that they're going to spend a lot more money, up to that $500 billion, obviously, as we kind of talked about here. So you're seeing stocks like Oracle pop to the upside here. NVIDIA also catching a nice little bid. Even if you're looking at some of the energy stocks that are related to the AI data centers, if you're looking at Constellation Energy, that stock is actually up on the session here today as well. So that's really what is giving us a boost from the broader equity markets. But we do have Elon Musk making some comments saying that he believes that SoftBank only has around $10 billion worth of commitments actually secured at this point, based on some good authority. And that's where you're kind of seeing a little bit of this back and forth. Sam Altman kind of refuting some of the claims and stating that Elon should kind of focus on his new role within the government in order to protect national security and things of that nature. So interesting times, and obviously this is going to be a headline mover probably for the next day or so as we get more details around this plan. But kind of just shows that there's a lot of foreign investment that is trying to make its way to the United States in order to be a part of this AI expansion story that is not only just a trend for the near term, but does seem like it's going to be a secular trend for the coming years.
Hey, KG, I don't want this to be commentary on, what is right or what is wrong, but just in theory, this in a way is fiscal spending without fiscal spending. In a way, it's getting money to be invested in these things without having to basically procure it at the Treasury or through Congress's purse power. This is essentially getting these companies to invest as opposed to the government itself doing it. Is that your interpretation?
Yeah, it's it's investment dollars from corporations in order to try to expand the industry out. So you're exactly right. The big key area here is that there's commitments, and then there's actually dollars and cents that are actually going to be spent. And if you're talking about $500 billion is a lot of money, right? It's $500 billion. That's a lot. And so the interesting part is going to be if this actually does come to fruition. Not doubting the Trump administration. We've seen it from both parties where we see commitments being made, but they do fall short, when it comes to the actual dollars spent here. But trying to crowdsource funding in order to build out infrastructure is really the play that the Trump administration is trying to make here. And I think it also kind of signals to the fact that his call to action, a month ago or so, to spend, if you can spend more than $1 billion here in the United States, we can expedite permitting and approvals and licenses. That's just another incentive in order to try to get money flowing here. And this seems like that's the direct result. We can't speculate here.
Right.
$500 billion is a lot of money, though, Alex. So I don't know where all of this money is coming from, but that's the commitment. Let's see if it's going to happen. And it's supposed to open up 100,000 new jobs projected if these funds actually do hit the market.
One thing's for sure, I guess, KG, as I kind of add context, and then I have a follow-up as well, is it's not unclear that a company like SoftBank or Oracle or OpenAI wouldn't be making these investments anyways. So maybe it's just the combination of them, kind of coming together for this project. But this is clearly a growth place for many of these companies, particularly kind of a vision fund type company like SoftBank to invest. But I guess my follow-on question, and please, correct me if I'm wrong, in theory, because this isn't necessarily creating new dollars, it's just bringing dollars here onshore. it can perhaps spur growth, but maybe not have as much inflationary knockoffs as simply inflating the monetary supply. I guess in theory, is that kind of the outcome if it happens?
Well, I think any dollar that is spent on any type of capex or investment, there is a expansion of that dollar over time, right? $1 can turn into $1.20 and so on and so forth. So it probably will be inflationary, but I'm not sure if it's going to be inflationary as far as like consumer prices going up on eggs or anything of that nature, right? It's probably going to be more raw materials and goods and industrial equipment that probably will kind of see those dollars. Maybe that's going to be inflationary for some institutions out there, but you do have to say, a dollar spent here in the United States will kind of grow over time, and that will have an impact when it comes to the economy as a whole. I think that is a good benefit if we are able to see this money once again flow through.
So, Kevin, do you think there's any degree of risk with the way that the AI build is happening, that like they're basically pulling back a lot of these security measures I know that were laid out previously by the Biden administration? Elon Musk is saying, I mean, I know that he's like basically declared himself as a pretty public disliker of Sam Altman, so there's that beef there, but he's also come out and basically said there's a degree of these companies don't have the balance sheets basically to support. I mean, is there risks to them when you hear $500 billion that we don't actually even get there or anywhere close?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, this kind of is reminiscent of the grain deal from the first administration, and then the tariff war that we had, and the commitments that China was going to buy so much grain, and they only fulfilled like 15% of it. So there's commitment and then there's action. But the commitments that we are seeing right now is enough for dollars on an investment side to kind of flow into the market. So as long as you have that enthusiasm, the equity markets probably are going to react in a positive manner. And once again, you have 3 years, 4 years. News cycles usually only last for 24, 48 hours. We'll probably forget about this in a month from now. So you want to at least get the commitments. That's good for equity markets. Over the long term, anybody's guess if we actually do see this come to fruition. What probably will happen over time, just like with any industry, though, Jenny, and we've seen this across the board, you have boom bust cycles. We're in a boom cycle when it comes to AI. At some point, you probably would think that maybe we will have an overcapacity at some point, and you'll see more efficiency when it comes to the software side and trying to train models rather than what we're doing now, which is more brute force training of models. And so that's going to be a problem down the road, not a problem right now. Equity market's going to like any of these commitments. And then once again, we have 3 years, 4 years. If it comes up short, no one's going to really talk about it, just like no one's talking about the failure of China buying all the grain that we were supposed to get purchases from 4 years ago, 5 years ago. No one cares.
That's a good point, too. And that's an interesting parallel. I hadn't thought of it. And frankly, I think the long-term concerns are still worth acknowledging, because right now it seems like so much momentum trades on the expectation that there's no snag in any of this narrative. But it's good to acknowledge that it doesn't always play out the exact way that markets price in. So great insight, and appreciate the breakdown. As always, the great takeaways on Stargate. Kevin Green, senior markets correspondent for the network.